Crosse, Wisconsin. The Crosse Amtrak station was built in 1927 for the Milwaukee Road, but traces its origins back to the first rail link to La Crosse in 1858. Back then, the station was in the middle of downtown. Not a problem when it was at the end of the line, but as its predecessors merged and grew into the third northern transcon, the 2-mile reverse shove started to become an issue. Moving the station was an incredibly unpopular move, however, and it took until 1925, 9 years after the old station burnt down, before the railroad finally obtained permission to build the new one, next to the railroad's former North La Crosse location. It was originally planned to be a Union station with the CB&Q, Chicago Northwestern, and Green Bay and Western, but that failed to materialize. The Milwaukee's downtown freight house persisted until 1955, until it was relocated next to the station. Today, both buildings exist as one. I'm not sure when the connection between the two was built, probably in the 70s. At its post-war peak, the station had about 7 daily trains serving it. Most were either to Chicago, Minneapolis, or Seattle, but there was also a local to Austin, Minnesota. This shrank to just 2 by 1970, and then down to 1 upon Amtrak's formation. It bounced somewhere between 2 to 3 from 1972 to 1981, when the Chicago Duluth Northstar was cut back to St. Paul. This made the Empire Builder the only train to serve the station. Service dropped briefly to triweekly in early 2020, and currently sits at 2 trains per day, with the Borealis being the latest rendition of dedicated Twin Cities to Chicago service, starting May 21st of this year. I've got a whole separate video on that. The station was last renovated in 2001, fixing the platform shelter and a few other things, and it will soon receive a new platform and an additional track as part of upgrades required to run the Borealis. The station saw 21,259 riders in 2023, making it the busiest station in Wisconsin outside of the Hiawatha Corridor. On top of the waiting area, it has restrooms, vending machines, payphones, checked baggage, and a ticket agent. Although he was busy wrangling people on the platform, we were looking at the Empress 2816. The first floor is mostly accessible, but there's only one ramp into and out of the waiting room, which isn't in the most convenient spot. Amtrak passengers at least don't need to access the second floor, but if you do, you're SOL. As usual around here, the station has low platforms, so a wheelchair lift is employed. Parts of the building are occupied by businesses, including a coffee shop in the old freight house. MTU routes 5 and 6 are nearby and provide connections to most of the metro area, and the yellow route on scenic Mississippi Regional Transit provides service out to Viroqua upon request. The MTU routes operate half-hourly on weekdays and hourly on weekends, with the 5 having some additional service when the university is in session. The yellow route operates 4 times per weekday, although the blue route provides overlapping service and can be found, along with the red, green, and most MTU routes, at the downtown transfer center. I never really talk about the towns I go visit, and that's usually because, well, either I don't spend too much time there or they just aren't that interesting. But I really should. This day in particular was a lot of fun. Not only did I get to chase 2816 down from St. Paul, something I wasn't sure I'd ever get to do, but I also found that there was a bike race going on downtown at the same time. So, while I waited for my car to charge, I got some pulled pork, sat down, and enjoyed the races. They call the driftless area God's country for a reason, folks. I don't think I ever quite explained this rule or even, laid it out in any way. But I promise, going to try my best not to drive to these stations. It's one of those things where it's like, well, I'm already here, I might as well do it, But for the most part, try to get stations by Amtrak first, and if not Amtrak, some other form of public transportation. Buses, trains that aren't Amtrak, that sort of deal. So yeah, I'm going to give La Crosse a 7 out of 10. It was really, really nice station. The only issue with it is the level of service, which is literally getting better in a few weeks, and in fact it probably will be by the time you see this, but you calibrate it by how it is when you're here, I guess. Potential is one thing, realizing that potential is still another.